Test, test. Can you hear me now? Test, test. Can you hear me now? Alright. Got audio. Test, test. Can you hear me? Alright. Good deal. Alright. Now, let's get started. So I saw recently on YouTube. Come on. Why isn't this? Sick. Keyboard's not working. What the heck? Why is my keyboard not working? Heat press insert 3D printing. Heat press insert 3D printing. The microphone's definitely on. Heat press insert 3D printing. All right. That is bizarre. Gotta love. That, why is, what? If I go to freecad, why is my keyboard not working? All of a sudden. Okay. Okay, alright. The USB must have came loose. So I saw this on YouTube. Not the insert, it was... I think it's in my... It's probably in my recently watched things. History.
When guys customize their guns, I always just...
Alright, this is going swell. Let's try this again. "3D printed heat forming mold." This was it. This was it.
We're head bobbing, not headaches. We're getting personal, not going public.
Today, we're going to be testing out thermoforming your 3D prints. I hope I am saying that correct. Basically, what we're going to be doing is printing some objects, then applying some heat to them, and then pressing them into shape. Now, if you do any kind of cosplay 3D printing, you might already be familiar with this technique because I use this all the time when it comes to better sculpting, shaping an object to fit my head or different body parts. Here's an example of a set of He-Man here that I previously printed, and it's awesome. Let's try it with the ABS. I mean, this is gonna definitely work the ABS, but now I feel like I've got a little bit of a better handle on how to do this. I'm gonna go low with the heat and start pressing down.
Like that, this here, so you'd get that skeletonized pattern and a fishing lure, and you could put like some BBs inside there for rattles and such. I think that would be a really cool effect for my 3D printing fishing lures. So today I'm going to be taking a stab at designing something like this in freecad. It's going to be a little challenging because if you look at, we'll say, the blank that he's using here, it's got this outside ring before it stretches the material over, and because of that, that's going to make it challenging to make into a fishing lure. But I think I've got some ideas to get around that, and we're gonna see where that takes us. So without further ado, I think I want to do like yeah, okay. I think I want to do like a little lipless crankbait type deal. So to do a lipless crankbait, they've all got like the little snout, and then we're gonna want to do like some curvature. So something funky like this. And I'll go ahead and define this. We'll do like 12 millimeter. This like 4 millimeters. And then we want the curvature. We want this to be tangent to that. And then like probably something like this. This is going to be interesting. I want it to have a belly on it. Make these tangent. These tangent. Not like that. Like this tangent. And then, yeah. And then I'm gonna want another curve like this. And a curve like that. Make these all tangent to each other. Forgot the curve down here. And I'm gonna want another one here. There we go. And one there. Connect to that. Make these tangent. And then I'm gonna want, yes. Yes, 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 yes. That's it right there. That's what I want. All right. Now we got the basic shape of the bait down. Something like this. And we're going to use construction lines to define where the center of these arcs are. Okay. And then that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay. And then that, and sure. And now those are all defined nicely. I could come back in here and say like those aren't defined down there, and this is not what I wanted. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Perfect. All right, now we got a fully defined lure, well, sketch for the lure, and we're gonna go ahead and draw these lines. Okay, and the next thing we need to do is I'm gonna try something a little different here. I'm gonna pad this sketch and then turn it into a shell, because I think why didn't that alright, that was weird. FreeCAD does weird stuff sometimes. But I think this is the easiest way to do what I want it to do. I want, like, I don't think I need the pad to be 10 millimeters. Probably only, yeah, maybe 3. And then if I shell it and make the walls thin, what I can do, where's thickness? Thickness. Yes. And then I can make, the form mold push it out this way and have it give some body out that way. And then I'll connect it in the middle here along that edge, and then that'll give me the solid bait that I want. So this is, I like this, where this is going, but now I need to think about how I'm gonna do the wires for the hooks and all that. But this is good so far. This is good. And the more challenging part next is going to be creating the form to push this out. Okay. So we're going to go and save this in Documents, Lure Molds, new folder. Heat formed rattle bait. And then we'll make this the blank. Okay. And I'm gonna want center of mass will be down in here. If I make the eyelet like right in here, then it should do what I want. And I'll put a hook here and a hook here. And how long is this bait from there to there? 2 inches. That's perfect. Alright. And I'll be able to scale this up. To do what I want it to do. And I think I know what I want to do about the... Yeah, that would work. That'll work. Alright. But here's the cool thing that's going to happen when we actually go to 3D print this. So if I go to Orca, where is our bamboo? Orca slicer. And I export this body as an S or a step. It's going to take Orca a second to open up. Let's do it this way, I guess. And then I do a new project and I import that documents, lure molds, and then I called it, what did I call it? Heat formed rattle bait. I open that up and I lay this flat, and then I come to strength, 2 wall loops, that's fine, but I want no top layers and I want no bottom layers, and then I do like a hexagonal, I could do gyroid in full and slice it. That's not what I wanted. Why didn't it? Okay, let's try it. Try again. 0 and slice plate. There it goes. It's gonna need a denser infill pattern than that. Yeah. we can go to say like 35. Yeah, there we go. And it's gonna have this pattern, and then I'll heat form that pattern. And I don't think I really like the gyroid. I think I want wonder what that would look like. I mean, that's cool, but 0% chance that would work. Honeycomb. There we go. That is what I'm after. And then you press that into the shape you want. Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be cool. Alright, go back to freecad. Save this blank. I did that. Now the next part is going to be more challenging. Because remember, I still need to put in I still need to add space for, you know, where am I going to put line ties, hook hangers, all that. So what I'm going to do now is go to the part workbench, and I'm going to add cylinders. placement is going to be -3 and the Y. And that's actually pretty close to where I want it. Oops, did not want to do that. Wanted to do this. Yes. And then I got a, now I've got a hook hanger there. Copy that, paste that, transform, and I've got a hook hanger here now. Okay. Copy that, paste that, transform, and I've got a hook hanger back here. And that should work. And what we're actually going to do is cut those out from there. And then we'll do a new project. And that's just going to be one of those cylinders. And then we'll do copy and paste, transform, move this guy over, move this guy over, and then move those up a little bit. And that will be the hook plug, we'll call it. And then what those will do is give us something to interface on in here. And probably what I should do so those don't pull out is make that that'll work. That'll work there and there. Won't work there. I'll run with it. I'll run with it and see how it goes. Export that as a step for later. Alright. And then now that's the easy part. Now we have to do the hard part, which is going to be making the form. So there's going to be two parts to the form, and that's going to be the base, which is what's going to stretch. Go back to Orca Slicer. The form's going to come at it from this side and push it down. Maybe I need to let me think about that. No, yeah, we'll do it so the form rides on this side and pushes it this out this way. Alright, so what I need to do, come on. There we go. What I need to do is scale this down a little bit. Yeah. I'll scale it down. Say factor of 0.9. And then that should work. No, I'm not going to do it that way. File, new, and then part design, import the step file. And then we're going to this is going to be difficult to get that curved geometry that I want like that. Let's see. Turn a flat face into curved tree and freecad. Alright, well that's not working.
With Kinsta, you get it all. Super fast, secure hosting for WordPress.
Okta secures AI, so you'll feel good turning it loose to do its job, knowing the right controls are in place.
Dear Acorns, growing up, I had a tough childhood, but it's the reason I work so hard today.
So let's add another edge, and let's let the inner edge here. So we close that surface. If you look over to the model, you see a surface is being created. But this is just a flat surface. We need it to conform to this arc here. And this is the reason why I've added these arcs. To do that, I scroll down and we see the edge constraints. So we've first done the boundaries. Click on the edge constraints and look at the non-boundary edges. So these will constrain the surface. So we add an edge and click this inner arc. You can see by adding that constraint on that surface, it's forced the surface to pass through that arc. Now we've completed that, let's hit OK. And we'll work on the next surface, the outer surface. So again, we use the fill in. We add an edge, click the outside edge, and then click the other edge. If I hit OK, we can see the boundary edges must be added in consecutive order. Even if we move those edges, let's remove them, those two, add an edge and work our way around. We can see that hasn't worked. So what do? Well, we use a different tool. Well, we could create a line that goes across here, or we could come over to the part and create a ruled surface. So click on the two edges like so, control clicking them,
Testing. Can you hear me? I think that should be working now. Testing. Can you hear me? All right. That's working again. All right. Let's try to get this figured out now. How am I going to get that curved geometry that I'm going to want? I mean, it would be really nice. If there was a tool that would just do that. Replace the flat face with a revolved or lofted surface. Switched part design, new sketch, draw the profile, use revolution. It's not gonna work. Loft. Let's try that. Cancel. Close without saving. Save the blank. Save as. No, we're gonna call this the form. And delete, 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 close. Then we've got the body. Go back to the part design workbench. Delete the thickness. Delete the pad. We're just left with the sketch. And then additive loft. Ruled surface. What's that say? At least one selection is needed. Object sketch. Okay. Well, the loft. And then thicken it. Surface workbench. Select the flat face. Create a filled surface or be a spline surface. Okay, so create a filled surface. How do I, let's try that. Go to surface. second. That didn't work. I don't know what the hell it was trying to do there. Okay. And now what do I do with this? Total curvature. Well, that didn't do anything. How do I bend it? Hmm. Hmm. Let's see what it does with that. Let's try this. Open freecad. Select one planar face. Part design pad. Sure. Macros. Macros. Create. Convex. Paste that. And execute macro. Macro. Execute macro. That didn't work. Macro. Macros. Convex shape. Execute. Okay. Now we're gonna copy all that, put it back into ChatGPT. I like that. Being very freecad about it. Profile shape is not a single edge nor face. So you're trying to loft. FreeCAD rejects it. Face is outer wire. Okay. Let's try that. Paste. And execute macro. Alright, that didn't work. Let's go back to ChatGPT, paste the error. least one run of the macro happened as the object was selected instead of a face. It says face, not bad or potty. Alright, let's try again. And then macro. Go back here, select face. Oh. Delete all that. Let's try to do something there. Select that, face, macro, execute macro. Hmm. Interesting. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, it's trying to do something there. Alright. Go back over to the macro. And paste that. Select the face, macro. Did I copy that right? Copied. Paste. Go back to that. Select that face. Macro. Execute. Let's try this. Try this again. It did something there. Okay. It's trying to do something there. And then we'll paste that. Okay. Try again. Oh, no sketch. It's trying to do something. give this one more shot. FreeCAD crashed. Alright. Alright, this is... I cannot express enough not what I wanted it to do. However, this might be that might be good enough. And well, here, what if I do this? Ooh, now we're getting somewhere. Ho ho ho. This is gonna get interesting now. Delete that. I can make this 2 millimeters. And then point 1.8. Oh, this is gonna work. Yeah, I like this. Okay. So from there to there is 8 millimeter. That's gonna work. And now I need to scale it down. So I'll go to part design. No, part, body, scale. Make it 0.9%. Okay. And then just for reference, I'll show both of them. That ought to work, but I don't want uniform scale. I want .9 in the Y. And 0.95. Let's try that. We'll delete that and start over with the scale. Cancel. I clicked on mirror. Non-uniform scaling. 0.95 and 0.9. Okay. And then we'll show the original body. That's more... I think I want this to be 0.95 and this to be 0.9. Nope, wrong way. Oh, it was the Z that I... Okay. Okay. This ought to... Now that ought to do it. And then... yeah, that ought to do it. Hide that. Then that will be the form. And I think I like that. Can I... add a fillet to that? I bet it's gonna break it. Yeah. Alright, we'll just leave it like this for now. What's the distance from here to there? 8mm? That's pretty tiny. We'll try this. Okay. Now the next form I need to make is going to do I need to make another form? Let's try something. Let's go to Orca and import the form. And then okay, so that's gonna hit there. So I do need to scale that down a little more. And why don't I just do 0.9 and 0.75 File, save, file. File, export, save, yes, okay. File, import, form, open, yes. Lay flat. And then the idea is going to be to that ought to work. That ought to work. Okay. So I'm gonna need to delete that. Clone that. Mirror it. And then we'll get this printing. Gotta turn on the printer. Alright, now we're back. And I'm also going to import the hook plugs. And we're going to want 3 of those total. Slice that up. That ought to work fine. Print that. Upload. And then go back to prepare. New project, yes. Transfer. Go back to freecad, open the blank file, export this as the blank body. And then go back to Orca, file, import, blank body, and then going to want to clone and mirror, and then 2 while loops, 0 top and bottom, layers. And slice plate. And then this will allow us to form the bait to get it. We'll heat it up, press this over the form, and it'll create that bulge with that skeleton pattern for the bait. And then we'll go ahead, put in those inserts for the hook eyes, eyelets, and then we'll have ourselves a bait. And we've got the printer going. Camera isn't working, but I think that will work. I think that will work. And that'll give us, if I go back to here, that honeycomb pattern. That'll give like a pretty good rattle bait, I think. What I would have liked to do is make it fatter in the belly, you know, to get that curve profile to it. Like, so it would bulge out more here and be thin up there. But we'll see. We'll see. Next steps for me are basically printing it out and trying it. So I will post a video at some point later to do an update on how all this works out, but trying something new. We'll see what happens. Thanks everybody for watching. I think that's all I got for the moment. Have a good rest of your morning.